So you probably remember trying out Pokemon Go back in 2016 when it completely took over the world. But chances are you didn't keep playing for long. I didn't either, because back then there just wasn't that much to do. But guess what, citizens? It's 2025 now, and the game has changed a lot. We got new mechanics, we got fresh events every week, and we got a thriving worldwide community. So let's talk about why you should give Pokemon Go another shot, how it works, what it looks like today, and how deep the fun really goes. So let's jump in. Here's what's new, what stays classic, and why it's still pretty awesome to pick up Pokemon Go in current year. So if you remember playing Pokemon Go back in the summer of 2016, you probably remember like the fever that swept the world. Like you're walking around with your friends, somebody like saw a Charizard spawn down by the community pool, and so everybody gets in the car and runs down there. Like that's pretty dope, man. That's like the community vibe. Like everybody's on the same kind of treasure hunt. But that feeling didn't really last long because there wasn't that much stuff to catch. It was kind of weird to like go outside and have to play the game, like walk around. And also like I personally felt just like it was kind of too different from the mainline Pokemon games that I was used to. Like the UI kind of felt like kind of Fisher Pricey. There's no battling when you catch a Pokemon. You level up Pokemon with candy. I don't know. It just all felt like not the Pokemon that I expected and not what I wanted from like a Pokemon MMO. But a lot has changed since then. The UI is still kind of Fisher Pricey. I'll give you that. But the game is basically now like a full-fledged RPG/MMO layered on top of the real world. It's not just AR catching anymore. According to iconera.com, some website I randomly found when I searched this, throughout this year 2025, Pokemon Go has had about 120 million monthly active users every month. This data is just like estimated. It's probably not official or accurate in any sense, but it is something to go off. Like a lot of people still play the game. It's not as big as it was then in 2016, but we still here, we still popping. I picked up the game again recently, just like summer of this year, and it's been really fun. So let me just quickly explain how the game works in case you forgot or maybe you never played before. So the essence of Pokemon Go is you walk around. The whole game is connected to like the real life map. So when you open the game, you'll see some Pokemon, some wild spawns around you, and you can catch those. But if you want to see more wild spawns, usually you gotta walk. There's places and points of interest that you can walk to. There's these things called Pokestops, which are usually just like little points of interest. When you're close enough to a Pokestop, you can spin it, get some Pokeballs and other resources. There's gyms where you can do battles and raids depending on what's there. And basically that's the core of the game. Casual play is just like catching what you see, not really worrying about the stats of the Pokemon, just trying to get enough candy to evolve stuff, fill out your Pokedex. It can be as chill as that. There is a lot to learn though, if you do want to get more into it. Serious play is like doing raid, grinding for Pokemon with the best stat. There's tons of different evolution and catch mechanics. There's something out there called an auto catcher. There's PvP, team building, all kinds of stuff. We'll go over all of that probably in a future video, but I just want to mention it, kind of give you an idea of the depth of the game that exists. The actual game mechanics of battling are like very simple. Like you almost don't even need to pay attention. But there is a lot of depth and complexity and things to learn about the game in other areas, mostly around like collecting. One of the main problems back in the day is that you couldn't really catch legendaries. At least not if you're just like running around on the sidewalk with your friends. Like it's cool to find a Charizard or like a Dragonite or eventually grind up enough candy to evolve one, but it was pretty hard. But the game has since added raids. It was actually added like a long time ago, like in 2017. And raids in Pokemon Go are pretty similar to what they are in other MMOs. Like several players gather together, a bunch of players, and take on like a tough boss. And usually the boss is like a legendary Pokemon or something strong like a Mega Evolution. Although there's raids for like regular tier Pokemon, which you can do by yourself or like with a couple friends if you're all pretty new. But you can finally catch legendaries now. And you don't even necessarily have to go out, find a gym to do a raid at. You actually can do raids from home, which we'll talk about later. Also, there's a big social infrastructure. Niantic has an official app called Campfire, which helps you like find groups and meetups in your local area. And there's meetups every week. There's themed events every week. There's raid hours every week, Dynamax battles every week, spotlight hours, and usually an event on the weekends too. And it's actually easy and chill to meet up. Campfire, the app, kind of sucks, but once you know how to navigate it, it's easy to find people. Plus, there's actually battling now. I know when I played back in the day, this was something that really turned me off of the game. You couldn't battle. Like battling's like an essential component of mainline Pokemon games. It's still not the same in Pokemon Go as it is in the mainline games, but you can battle other players, and there's also battles against bots, like battles against Team Rocket, and you can battle your friends. There's also been a lot of quality of life updates. Like I said, people can invite you to a raid remotely. You can party up with your friends to do challenges, catch Pokemon together. There's mega evolutions that give you passive bonuses. There's special research and field research, which is like quests, like little missions that you can do. They technically have some kind of story to them, but it's usually pretty like whatever. But it's fun to have quests. It's fun to have things to fulfill with rewards for those. You get the idea. There's a lot. But with all these quality of life improvements and new mechanics, there are a few downsides. And the big one, of course, which you already know is a mobile game, is monetization. The game is kinda pay to have fun, which is cringe, especially if you've played mostly PC or console games before this like I had. You get one free raid pass a day. Other than that, you gotta pay for raids passes, and you pay a little more to do raids remotely. Plus, there's always like a premium version of like the monthly pass or like tickets to events. You can definitely play for free, especially if you're just playing casually, just trying to casually fill out your Pokedex, not worrying about stats too much, not worrying too much about grinding for shinies. But if you are out there grinding for Pokemon with good stats or grinding for shinies, and you want to do a lot of raids, you want to play the events to the max, you do gotta pay, which is super cringe. It does affect PvP a little bit, although PvP is not entirely pay to win, which is great, right? Wow, it's not entirely pay to win, but it is. There's different tiers. So like you can't just max out your Pokemon after paying Niantic $1 million and win every battle. You can. There is a league for you to do that, but there's also other leagues that are restricted based on like the level of the Pokemon basically. So you can still have fun in PvP as a free-to-play player too. Another big objection some people don't like, the game is grindy. There's a lot of grinding. Like in Pokemon Go, you got to grind for candies to level up, and you get candy by catching the Pokemon. So if you want to evolve your Charmander, you got to catch a bunch of Charmanders till you get enough candy to evolve to Charmeleon. And then you got to catch a bunch more Charmanders till you get enough candy to evolve to Charizard. It's different than the mainline game of like you catch a Charmander and then you battle with that Charmander until you can evolve it. The mainline games, I mean, that's still grinding in the mainline games. Pokemon has always been about grinding, but since the grind looks a little different in Pokemon Go, it can be unappealing. It was unappealing to me when I first started. I totally get that. Also, if you have done any grinding or any deeper play in the mainline games, you probably know about IVs. They're in Pokemon Go too. So if you want Pokemon with good stats, you gotta grind for that too. And you can grind for shinies, which is even rarer than Pokemon with good stats most of the time. And you can grind for Pokemon that know special moves. There's a lot of grinding in the game, you get what I'm saying? To some people, this is a downside. To me, I actually like the grind. It's fun going out there, putting in the work and getting something that you're really happy with. I appreciate that. And it's gameplay that I didn't really appreciate before Pokemon Go. I was okay with grinding in the mainline games, but I actually enjoy it now. I'm a glutton for punishment. So thank you, Pokemon Go. But even with those downsides, there's a lot of benefits to the game. One of the main benefits, community. Like I said before, there's Campfire, which helps organize local meetups. You can meet people, you just go to the park, hang out, catch some dope Pokemon. You do raids together, you make friends, you trade. It's pretty sick. There's also the exploration side of it, which kind of goes hand in hand with community. You actually have to go outside and walk around to play this game. You can play parts of it from home for sure. There's always something you can do in the game while you're just chilling. But one of the main components of gameplay is walking around, going places, and yes, even meeting people. As scary as that is, it's a great motivation for daily exercise. I've been walking a ton more since I started playing Pokemon, which is great. You also have the collection aspect. It's super fun to fill out your Pokedex, to grind for shinies, catch some cool legendaries or shiny legendaries. And speaking of, Pokemon Go, if you didn't know already, has pretty much the highest shiny chance of any Pokemon game that I know of. Like it's easier to get shinies in this game than any other Pokemon game. And you can transfer the Pokemon that you get in these games to Pokemon Home and then to other mainline series games. So it can be a great way to get shinies in mainline series titles. You do gotta pay for that privilege, which is probably why it's a little bit easier than other games, because you gotta pay to do raids. Although you can catch wild shinies, and you do, especially if you get an auto catcher, which we'll talk about in a later video. But it is great for the collection aspect. It's great for getting shinies. I don't think I ever had a shiny Pokemon before playing this game, and now I have a bunch. And one final aspect that I wanted to mention, another big benefit of Pokemon Go for me, has been like the combination of nostalgia and connection. It's really fun to like find and catch the old Pokemon that I know and love, but also playing Pokemon Go has made me really appreciate the new Pokemon. And now like I know most of them. If you're like me and you hadn't really played any of the main series games for a while, you probably lost touch with all the new Pokemon that came out in the years since then, especially ones that aren't legendaries or pseudo legendaries. But playing Pokemon Go, I actually appreciate those Pokemon now and like all the cool designs that have come out. I used to think like new designs that are coming out are like a bit silly, right? Like somehow in the old days we had like cool Pokemon, and now there's just like goofy designs and like things that aren't that cool. But seeing all these Pokemon like together side by side in one game made me realize that like the old Pokemon are goofy too, and there's a bunch of cool designs in the new Pokemon, and I appreciate the goofy designs too. It's been really cool. It has really actually like strengthened my bond to the brand of Pokemon, which has been really enjoyable. So if any of this made you interested in picking up Pokemon Go again, you definitely should. It's easy to jump back in. I know it sounds intimidating to walk a lot and go out and actually meet people, but it's really easy. The meetups are very chill. It's basically just like a bunch of nerds gathered up, all looking at their phones together. Plus you don't need to start over. If you still have your old account from when you tried it back in the day, like maybe you use like a Google or Apple social login, that's how I log back into mine. You'll have some old Pokemon from back in the day, which actually don't transfer those are guaranteed lucky. We'll talk about that later, but it'll give you a big boost coming back into the game if you keep some of those. Plus, you can play casually or seriously. It's entirely up to you. Personally, I'm a grinder, but plenty of people just come, enjoy the social aspects, and chill. You meet up downtown or at the mall or at the park. You catch some legendaries. You get some snacks and some drinks. You chill, you talk to people. It can be very chill. Just like a chill social thing to do in the evenings or on weekends. Or it can be as hardcore as you want it to be. You can go through and try and do as many raids as possible, grinding for the best possible legendary you can get. That's what I like to do. It's really up to you. Plus, it is one of the few video games that gets you outside and meeting people in person. As cringe as that sounds, I know touching grass is scary, but it is actually cool, and it still connects you with millions of people around the world. There's global challenges. You can add friends from around the world. You can send each other postcards, which is actually something I think is really cool. You can chat with people on the Campfire app. There's a big community aspect, both online and offline. So if you loved Pokemon as a kid, if your ideal career was Pokemon trainer, this is like as close as we can get right now to living it for real. You really can become the very best. Pokemon Go in 2025 is not the same game that we played 9 years ago, and that's exactly why it's worth another shot. If you like this video and you want to try pick up Pokemon Go, stick around. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to get started the easy way, what to catch first, how to level up fast, and even how to do raids from home. See you soon.